Do you think he has a favorite kill? Do you think he has a kill that he still thinks about to this day, where even maybe reflects and goes, "Yeah, that was really good."
That's a great question.
What do you think he's saying when he puts those glasses on in the costume shop in part two?
That's a good question. Oh, I look good.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
How you doing?
I'm doing so, dude. Seriously, this is a huge honor to me. I am obsessed with your work. I'm obsessed with these movies. So seriously, I really do appreciate your time, man. I fucking love these things.
Oh, thanks, man. My pleasure, dude.
I'm
Appreciate
gonna
that.
jump into this because I got 1,000 questions for you. And I'm gonna start with a really big question, ironically about the ending, because obviously this is an ongoing story and there's a mythology that's getting bigger and bigger. Do you know what the ending to this story is? Like, do you know how all of this is gonna wrap up one day?
I do, and I knew it when I was writing part two, which is the greatest sort of safety net because the worst thing could be just sort of meandering as an artist and not knowing where you're going to end the franchise, and that could tank everything that came before it. So I do have for me anyway, a very satisfying way to conclude my Terrifier saga.
Have you told anybody?
David knows.
Does he really?
Yeah. Well, we're inseparable at this point. I mean, we see each other constantly. We're constantly at horror conventions, so we have a lot of time to kill. And I'm always throwing ideas by him and telling him what I'm thinking. And a lot of times, I don't want to tell him ideas either because I like to surprise him when he reads the script for the first time. But yeah, I told him the ending a long time ago.
That's awesome. Do you know this is now I'm getting very nerdy and specific. Do you know what the last shot's gonna be?
Yeah, yes. I will say this. There's something I'm still toying with doing in the last shot where I won't know until I get into the editing room if I'm going to do it or not.
When we get to that moment, I'm gonna play you this clip and you're gonna have to tell me whether you did it or not.
Yeah, it could be it could be I don't know. It could be like the coolest thing I've done or it's a very risky thing too. But yeah, I'll definitely let you know if I decide to go into
I'm
that.
dying. You know, one of my favorite movie history stories is that Stanley Kubrick never really told the child actor playing Danny just what kind of movie they were making. I think he told him it was like a thriller and they kind of were very protective of him. Children, obviously, a much bigger part of this film than they've ever been before. What sort of conversations do you need to have with these kids before David shows up on set as Art the Clown?
That's a great question, man. And because I've never really worked with this many children before, actually, it's very rare. I don't remember how often I've worked with kids in movies before. And now there's so many children. And I only know how to really direct one way. So I direct them the way I direct any other actor, right? Maybe a little more sensitive, of course. But that's what I mean. I don't bring up other things in the script to them at all. We just talk about what they have to do and what I need from them to do. Like for instance, there's a scene. Are we allowed to like give spoilers and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll put a spoiler tag and spoiler warning.
All right, cool. So there's the scene where Art the Clown becomes the mall Santa and he's surrounded by children. So we were working with this large group of kids for days. And I don't know how, but a lot of these kids knew the context of the scene. Because I don't recall us sending out, we would withhold the bomb portion
Yeah.
of it. And I'd have kids coming up to me like, oh, like, are we gonna blow up today? Is this the scene with the bomb? And I'm like, there's no bomb. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I wouldn't tell them that. I'm like, no, you're just getting presents. He's just being goofy, so I only give them as much information as they need to know. Like Antonella, though, who plays Gabby who has a significant role. It's essentially her and Sienna are the stars of the film. Like Antonella got the entire script and she knew everything that was going on in the film. And SAG was worried. They have concerns, of course, because you're dealing with a child actor, and they would worry for her mental health because of some of the things that were in the script. And she told them, she's like, no, I'm fine. She's like, this is a masterpiece. This is one of the greatest things I ever read. Like, she's the coolest.
I didn't realize SAG got involved like that. I didn't realize that they like got involved on like in like the context of the movie.
I don't know if they typically do, but they did on our film to an insane degree. I mean, we basically had chaperones the entire time we shot the movie, making sure that we didn't do anything anything bad. It was intense. It was a little extreme, but we got through it and we didn't harm anybody physically or mentally.
Well, hey, we still got four, man. There's still time.
Right?
Um, I'm not going to tell you anything you don't already know, but David is obviously so fantastic. His art and his performance just it says so much without obviously ever saying a word. Do you come up with dialogue in your head for art, even though we never hear it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
What is the moment of the from the three films that you would think it would be most interesting for me to hear the dialogue going on in his head?
Honestly in this one in Terrifier 3, I think that two of my favorite scenes because they're just like the most Art the Clown art centric scenes where he really gets to perform his shtick, his showmanship. Like those are some of my favorite scenes. Like in part one, we try just as we try and do these big kill scenes, I always try and have a pizzeria scene, which is
Mhm.
the scene in the original where he
Mhm.
comes and he's just staring at the girls and making them feel awkward. In part two, it's the costume shop scene. So it's anytime he could really build suspense with this character, and you can get where I can make the audience as uncomfortable as they are, sort of laughing and having fun at the same time until he does something really nasty. In this film, we do that where he runs into the local Santa Claus in a bar, and that was
I
probably the
love how excited he is.
he thinks he treats him like he's the real Santa Claus when
Mhm.
he first sees him. And then and the mall scene with the children. I think hearing he's so expressive in those scenes. I think they're some of the most human portrayals we've ever seen Art the Clown. There are just so many human nuances come through that his performance where I remember going up to him during those days and telling Dave and pulling him aside and just being like, dude, I'm feeling like magic here. I really am. Like this is working. And that's not something I typically say to David or anybody, but it was just you felt it clicking. You felt it just being so organic and working. And I just love what he did. Love what he did in those scenes. So I think hearing what he would say in those scenes, he doesn't have to speak. That's the beauty of it, though. You know what he would say in those situations.
What do you think he's saying when he puts those glasses on in the costume shop in part two?
That's a good question. Oh, I look good.
I'm never going to unhear that every time I see that scene now. I do want to go into Art's head for a second. Do you think he has a favorite kill? Do you think he has a kill that he still thinks about to this day, where even maybe reflects and goes, yeah, that was really good?
That's a great question, man. I mean, perhaps I think his opus at this point, not to give spoilers with part three, but is probably the bedroom kill in part two. Just because there's so much, it's so relentless, and it just goes on and on and on. And I love the horrific reveal of the aftermath of that scene.
Mhm.
Just seeing that body on the bed, I think is a truly, satisfying horror movie payoff, horror movie moment. And that was, I don't know if you know this, that was based on, and this isn't something I typically do. I don't really read books on real serial killers or watch documentaries. I'm not really fascinated with real serial killers, but I just happened to be in a bookstore one day and I was going through the true crime section and there was a book about Jack the Ripper. And I was just scrolling through it, and there was an actual crime scene photo of one of the victims, and it was this poor woman mutilated on a bed. And it was so grotesque that you really just couldn't make out the person anymore. It was just blood and meat and
I've seen
bone.
that picture. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And so I tried to recreate that. I said, what if Art the Clown was responsible for that woman's demise? And I sort of reverse engineered, how did she end up there? And then that was
Wow.
kind of approached that kill scene.
Is that
So
line in three a little bit of a tip of the cap to that? I think she says like the worst serial killer since Jack the Ripper.
it is, yeah, just because, yeah, because he just did so. Jack the Ripper is just so notorious, and he's mythic because you don't know who the killer was, and there's this mystery and ambiguity around him, just like there is with Art the Clown, where it feels like he's not even Jack the Ripper isn't even a real serial killer. We're so cut off from the reality of those murders. So, and since we're dealing with Art the Clown in a fantastic fantastical world, I thought that would be the proper comparison to make.
I love that. I had a lot of questions about where or if Art would draw the line before seeing this movie. Like, would he kill a kid? Would he kill an animal? Those questions are answered. Is there any scenario on this planet that would make Art say, no, I'm not going to do that? Because as I look over at my cute, beautiful dog across the room, part of me wants to think Art would look at her and go, well, I can't. No, not you. You're too perfect.
Well, exactly. Well, that's the thing with Art the Clown. He's so unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
So even if he did these terrible things in this one, that's the fun I could have with the audience, where they're like, oh God, he's going to do it. And then he doesn't do it, right?
Yeah.
He's always surprising. He'll surprise me. Like everything that I write with this character has to be genuine. It's like, there's this great story I've heard the author of Conan, the guy, Robert E. Howard, who created the character of Conan. I think he was kind of crazy, but he would maybe a drunk and whatnot. And when he would write this character of Conan, like he would envision Conan behind him, like holding a sword to the back of his head and saying, like, you need to write now, and like write this kind of like force him to write it. And I almost feel that way, where it's like Art just like comes to me organically. And no matter how horrible something might be, if he's telling me this is genuine, and if you don't do this, you're not being true to who I am, you know what I mean? Then I feel that, and I have to write it. Now, it could be something so repulsive, but I have to execute it in a more palatable way. So even though he does horrible things in this movie, right? Everybody's afraid of him killing children because they think I might kill a child the way I killed the girl in part 2 in the bedroom scene. To me, that's way too far. It's way too off-putting, and it's distasteful, right? You're going to alienate half, if not all, of your audience. So it's my job as an artist to maybe it's genuine to Art the Clown, but maybe there's a way I could portray it and execute it as an artist where it is accessible. It's still palatable to an audience, and they're not going to get up and walk out because of it. So
the power of sound, man, the sound in that opening scene. They're about to pull me out of here. I just because I'm a nerd and I have to know how a scene ends. Do you think he killed the guy on the train? Like, he sees the guy's clearly a fan of him and geeking out and dressed up just like him. And then we never really find out. Do you think he killed that guy, or do you think he went, he's a fan?
No, absolutely killed him. And I think
oh man.
I think what's even more interesting is how did he get him out of the costume and avoid getting any blood on it while killing him, or how did that transpire? I think that would be even more interesting.
God, my imagination's going crazy, man. Dude, if you can't tell, I'm such a fan of your work and of you, man. I follow you on Instagram. I think you're fantastic, and would love to talk to you with part 4 if you got time.
Thanks, Jake. Anytime, brother. This was fun, man.
All right, man. I appreciate you. You guys have a good day. Thank you, Rachel.
Take care, man.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.